Welcome back. All right, so we're going to talk about a career today of Kelly Hrudey, the playing career of Kelly Hrudey. Kelly Hrudey, of course, known now for his work with Hockey Night in Canada, also known for being just a very outspoken, great guy on the internet. I mean, he gets like tagged by people on Twitter. They're like, "Hey, Kelly, I hear you're going to be here. Is there a chance I can get an autograph?" And he's always very accommodating. Really, really great guy. And he also has been very outspoken about mental health issues, and he has been very open with admitting his own struggles in that area as well. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about his career. I also think he was an underrated goaltender for his era. He's drafted 38th overall in 1980. I think he probably would have been in the NHL a little bit sooner than when he was, but he's drafted by the Islanders, who have Billy Smith. They also have Rolly Melanson. So imagine you're drafted and you realize at some point in time you're probably going to be replacing Billy Smith as the starting goaltender for the New York Islanders. No pressure or anything. So it isn't until 83-84 when he makes his debut. 12 games played, a record of 7-2-0, 903 save percentage. So his numbers are very good. At the time they trade away Rolly Melanson and they go with Hrudey. Yeah, Hrudey's ready for this. That 903 save percentage, not bad. Small sample size with 12 games, but he was going to be a very good goaltender for the Islanders for a while. In 41 games in his full rookie season in 84-85, 19-17-3 record, 886 save percentage, which was 8th overall in the NHL. Save percentage is much lower than where they are now in general. But again, for his era, very good goaltender. In the playoffs, 5 games, a record of 1-3 and a 946 save percentage. Great numbers in the playoffs, not great wins totals, because sadly, at the time that he joins the Islanders, the dynasty is done. And that was a dynasty that I thought at the time might continue because LaFontaine came up, Flatley came up, Hrudey came in, and they had a couple other young guys coming into the lineup. And I thought, man, the Islanders are going to win championships forever. Little did we know at the time. 85-86, he plays 45 games, a record of 19-15-8. The 8 ties are second overall in the NHL. His 906 save percentage is second overall in the National Hockey League. So really coming into his own for the Islanders here. Only plays the 2 playoff games, loses both, ends up with an 898 save percentage. He was 5th in Vezina voting that year. 86-87, 46 games, 21 wins, which is 9th overall in the NHL that year to go with 15 losses, 7 ties or 4th overall. The 881 save percentage, that's a big drop. But 1987 is a big year for him and for the Islanders in the playoffs. So as underdogs, they're the 3rd ranked team in their division. They're against the number 2 ranked Capitals because divisional playoffs and all, and they end up scoring the upset. So he ends up in those playoffs, 14 games, a 7-7 record, 918 save percentage. But it's April 18th of 1987. This is the game that made me really and truly fall in love with the game of hockey. So, I mean, I had been a hockey fan, big hockey fan, but the Easter Epic was it. That was a game that went to 4 overtimes, and it was a game 7. So this was whoever scores, you're moving on to the next round, and whoever doesn't, you're going home. And this really and truly was a sudden death game, and it was absolutely one of the most ridiculous games I ever watched. It was I didn't want it to end. I was sad when it ended for 2 reasons. One, because it was over, and 2, because that pose for Bob Mason after that puck went in, my heart broke for him. I like Bob Mason, but at any rate. While I wasn't necessarily cheering for the Islanders that year, Hrudey was really coming into his own as a goaltender. So the season that followed, 87-88, plays 47 games. I get a kick out of the fact he goes 41, 45, 46, 47. Like they're taking their time. Okay, we'll give you one more start. And then he ends up with a record of 22 wins, which is 10th overall, 17 losses, 5 ties. His 896 save percentage is 5th overall in the NHL that year. In the playoffs, a record of 2-4, 6 games played, and an 851 save percentage. He was 3rd in Vezina voting that year. So that is the only time in his career he is a finalist for the Vezina. But yeah, he was a very good goaltender, and he was playing for an Islanders team that was not great, and they were going to get worse. So 88-89, things are getting worse. Things are getting much worse for the Islanders, and Hrudey is honestly taken to a team that is on the upswing. So he plays 50 games for the Islanders, a record of 18-24-3, 874 save percentage, and on February 22nd, he was traded to the LA Kings. 4. Doug Crossman, he was a player to be named later, and they named him to the trade after. Mark Fitzpatrick and Wayne McBean are going the other way as well. So Mark Fitzpatrick, a goaltender who had pretty good numbers here and there, but yeah, Hrudey's seen as a starter, right? So Fitzpatrick and Healy would become a thing, but Hrudey was a starter. After he goes to LA, plays 16 games, a record of 10, 4-2, 904 save percentage. He's joined Gretzky, he's joined the Kings. Things are good for him. So the 66 games played in total, that leads the NHL. His 28 wins are 4th overall, his 28 losses are 2nd overall, and he ends up with 5 ties. In the playoffs, 10 games played, a record of 4-6, 880 save percentage. The 89 playoffs, of course, they get through the first round, and in the second round, they end up with an issue with the Calgary Flames. The Flames are very, very good. 90-91, 47 games played, 26 wins, which is 7th over, or no, 89-90, sorry. 89-90, plays 52 games, which is 6th overall, 22 wins, which is 8th overall, 21 losses, 7th overall, and 6 ties, which is 8th. So he's in the top 10 on everything, except save percentage, 873 save percentage. And in the playoffs, the save percentage doesn't get better. Plays 9 games, a record of 4-4, 852 save percentage. I do believe that in those playoffs, they got their revenge on the Flames and knocked out the Flames, who were the defending Stanley Cup champions. That was a game that I watched. So again, Kelly Hrudey, part of games that were really part of defining me and where I stood and who I cheered for and who I didn't. And it felt weird, but I cheered for the Kings beating the Flames that year. 90-91, 47 games played, 26 wins, which is 7th overall, 13 losses, 6 ties. His 900 save percentage was 5th. So his save percentage bounces back after kind of a rough 89-90. 90-91, 12 games, 6-6 record, 903 save percentage. So they get past the first round. In the second round, they end up bowing out. But again, for the Kings, this is a team that hasn't really had a lot of success in the playoffs. 91-92, plays 60 games, which is 8th overall in the NHL that year. 26 wins, which is 9th overall, 17 losses, 13 ties. That's first in the NHL, 13 of them. 897 save percentage, which is 9th overall in the playoffs, 6 games, a 2-4 record. 877 save percentage. Now, in 91, he was 4th in the Vezina voting, and in 92, he's 7th in the Vezina voting. He is considered one of the top 10 goaltenders in the National Hockey League at that point. And I can't argue with that. I would say, yeah, he was one of the best goaltenders. The interesting thing is, 92-93 is not a regular season to write home about when it comes to Hrudey or generally for the Kings. Plays 50 games, a record of 18, 21, 6. The 6 ties are 7th overall. 887 save percentage. But then it's playoff time, and they go on a run. This is Gretzky's last run, of course. The big blow-off for him in terms of making an appearance in the final. Hrudey was great during those playoffs. In 20 games, he has a record of 10-10, 887 save percentage. And, of course, for the Kings, they knocked out Toronto. They end up losing to Montreal in the final because Patrick Roy. Nobody was stopping Patrick Roy that year. It was not going to happen. And so, yeah, it's a remarkable run for the LA Kings. And 93-94, things kind of fall off a bit. 64 games played, which is 10th overall. 22 wins, 31 losses, which is 5th overall, to go with 7 ties, 897 save percentage. 94-95, lockout shortened season. 35 games played, 14-13-5 record, the 5 ties, 8th overall. His 910 save percentage was 10th overall. So his save percentage came up. That was the highest save percentage he had in his entire career, and that's in 94-95. But 95-96, the numbers drop off. 36 games, a record of 7, 15, and 10. The 10 ties are 5th overall, 907 save percentage. So the Kings are going through a bit of an issue of their own. He ends up leaving as a UFA. August 18th, he signs with the San Jose Sharks. The first year with the Sharks, not bad, not awful. 48 games, 16 wins, 24 losses, which is 9th overall, 5 ties, and an 889 save percentage. Yeah, the save percentage isn't great. 97-98, the save percentage comes back a bit. The record does not. In 28 games, he has a record of 4-16-2, 897 save percentage. He did make an appearance in the postseason, just the one game. No record, 833 save percentage. For Kelly Hrudey, by the time he retires, keep in mind, look, the Kings, no playoffs here. So what does Kelly Hrudey do when his team's out of the playoffs or doesn't even make the playoffs? He goes and works for Hockey Night in Canada. And pretty quickly they realized that Kelly Hrudey was well-spoken. calm, quiet type for the most part. And they started programming it where you would have Don Cherry one night and you'd have Kelly Hrudey the next night. And it worked really well. There was a nice balance when you had them back and forth. And to this day, I still think Kelly Hrudey is one of the better broadcasters that Hockey Night in Canada has. 667 games played in his career, which is 35th among goaltenders. His 271 wins is 52nd. His 265 losses is 30th on the all-time list. His 88 ties is 31st. Career 893 save percentage in the playoffs. 85 games played, a record of 36 and 46. 891 save percentage. And again, his best years, I think, were in LA. That's why I'm wearing Kings. But I can still remember him playing with the Islanders. And I always thought Kelly Hrudey was really cool. I always thought, because I was not a huge Billy Smith fan. And when Kelly Hrudey came in, I'm like, man, I may still not like the Islanders, but this Hrudey kid's pretty cool. And he had a very good career, played a long time, and there you go. One thing with Hrudey was he almost played for Team Canada at the Olympics, but there was complaints that he had pro experience. He had already played 10 games for the New York Islanders at the time, and of course, the Olympics at the time, that was for amateurs. So the fact that he had played professional hockey meant there was complaints, and so they left him off the team. He would play for Team Canada at the Worlds, but he didn't play for Team Canada at the Olympics because of his experience with the Islanders. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.